Imagine yourself drifting slowly into a quiet space where every sound softens and every thought begins to loosen its hold. The world around you fades into a gentle darkness, warm and welcoming like a soft blanket settling across your mind. In this stillness, the universe opens before you, not with noise or urgency, but with the calm glow of distant worlds waiting to be discovered. Each planet turns in silence, each orbit unfolding with ancient patience, creating a rhythm that gently guides your breathing. As you drift deeper into this cosmic quiet, the stars shimmer like tiny lanterns scattered across a peaceful sky. Their light feels delicate, almost tender, as though the night itself is whispering for you to rest. Every moment becomes slower, smoother, easier. The weight of the day slips away, replaced by the soft pulse of wonder. Tonight, you will travel through the calmest corners of the universe, places shaped by silence, by gentle motion, by the soothing harmony of planets drifting through space. Let your thoughts float freely as you move from one tranquil world to the next. There is no rush here, only calm, only quiet, only the peaceful rhythm of the cosmos, carrying you gently forward. Sometimes the mind softens the moment it imagines drifting beyond the familiar world, rising slowly through a quiet sky where every sound fades into gentle shadow. You feel your breath loosen as the colors dim, letting the darkness wrap around you like a calm, patient tide. Space opens in front of you as a vast, quiet ocean dotted with distant lights that shimmer without hurry. Each passing moment feels slower, deeper, as if time itself is breathing with you. The planets move in ancient silent rhythms, steady and unbroken. Their calm motion invites you to glide with them, weightless and unbothered. And as you drift into that peaceful expanse, the first secrets of their stillness seem ready to unfold, guiding you softly forward. The night welcomes you into its calmness. There is something quietly comforting about the way planets drift through space, moving in slow, predictable paths that never demand attention. Their journeys are steady, unhurried, shaped by calm cycles that unfold over ages rather than moments. When you imagine them circling in silence, it softens the pace of your own thoughts, letting everything inside you loosen just a little. Planets do not rush, they do not strain, they simply follow their gentle arcs, balanced by forces older than memory. Their colors, their shadows, their distant glows create a kind of cosmic lullaby, a reminder that motion can be peaceful. And as you picture them drifting, you may feel your mind drifting too, settling into a rhythm that feels safe, slow, and deeply soothing as the quiet night surrounds you. There is a quiet comfort in imagining the planets moving along their orbits, each one following a smooth, ancient path through the dark. Nothing rushes in space, nothing strains or stumbles. Every world drifts at its own pace, carried by a balance so steady it feels almost like breathing. When you picture these long, looping arcs, something inside you begins to match their rhythm, slowing down, softening, settling. The motion is constant, but never demanding, like a calm heartbeat echoing across unimaginable distances. Each orbit is a reminder that the universe knows how to move without hurry, without noise. And as you follow these silent paths with your imagination, you feel your thoughts drift into the same gentle, predictable flow, resting in the quiet harmony of cosmic motion. Far from the noise of daylight, planets glow with a faint, soothing light that feels more like a whisper than a shine. Their colors melt softly into the darkness, pale blues, warm reds, muted golds. Even when sunlight reaches them, it arrives diluted and slow, spreading across their surfaces like a calm breath. This gentle glow has a way of quieting the mind, inviting your attention without ever pulling too hard. You can imagine standing at a distance, watching a planet illuminated by a thin halo, its light drifting outward in silence. It feels peaceful, almost timeless, as if the universe prefers soft tones over bright ones. And as you picture that glow settling over distant landscapes, you sense a similar calm settling quietly within you. Between every planet lies a silence so vast and gentle that it feels almost like a comforting blanket spread across the solar system. In that silence, nothing interrupts, nothing startles. It is a quiet that stretches farther than the mind can measure. Imagining this empty space softens the edges of your thoughts, letting them expand without pressure. The planets float within this stillness like calm islands in a dark, peaceful sea. And as you picture the enormous distances between them, you begin to sense how soothing emptiness can be. There is room for every idea to settle, room for every worry to drift away. In the hush between these worlds, the universe teaches you how to rest, how to breathe, and how to simply be without effort. Nothing in space moves with haste. Every rotation, every orbit unfolds in long, unbroken cycles shaped by patience older than memory. When you imagine a planet turning slowly on its axis, you feel a similar turning within yourself, a gentle shift, calm and steady. These motions are not hurried. They follow a rhythm that has guided the heavens for billions of years. Thinking about this timeless pacing quiets the mind, reminding you that not everything needs to move fast to matter. Some of the most beautiful motions in the universe happen at the slowest speeds. As your thoughts settle into that cosmic tempo, you begin to feel the weight of time soften, replaced by a peaceful sense of floating alongside the planets in their eternal, soothing drift. There is something deeply reassuring about knowing that planets follow patterns that never break. Night follows day, seasons turn, and the sky shifts with a gentle inevitability. When you imagine these patterns stretching across the solar system, each orbit repeating with calm precision, a quiet comfort fills the mind. Routine becomes beauty. Predictability becomes peace. Even the smallest planet keeps its promise, returning to the same place in the sky again and again, like a soft heartbeat echoing through the cosmos. These patterns remind you that there are rhythms in the universe you can trust, cycles that hold steady no matter how fast life moves. And as you relax into that thought, you feel a sense of belonging, as though the universe itself is gently keeping time for you. The colors of the planets seem painted with softness in mind. Mars carries warm dust reds that feel like evening light. Neptune glows in deep, calm blues that resemble quiet oceans at night. Saturn's rings hold muted golds, delicate and smooth, drifting around the planet like a gentle whisper. Even the shadows on these worlds fall softly, creating shapes that look more like dreams than landscapes. When you picture these colors blending into the darkness of space, your senses unwind. Nothing is bright or harsh. Everything feels washed in calm, distant hues. These planetary palettes ease the eyes and quiet the mind, inviting you to drift into a state where time slows and every color becomes a soft doorway into deeper rest. Even in the endless reach of space, there is a quiet feeling that everything fits together with gentle intention. The planets, the moons, the drifting dust all move in harmony, each following its own place in the grand design. When you imagine this vastness, you might expect to feel small, yet something softer happens instead. You feel connected, held within a universe that is steady and calm. Every orbit, every distant glimmer creates a sense of home in the darkness, as though you belong to this cosmic rhythm just as naturally as any star or world. In that belonging, your thoughts settle, your breath slows, and the space around you becomes peaceful, reminding you that even the infinite can feel warm and familiar. As you drift through this soft introduction to the planets, it feels as though a quiet doorway is opening ahead. The more you imagine their calm motions and soothing colors, the more the universe begins to unfold with a gentle invitation. Each world waits with its own secret of stillness, and you move toward them without strain, guided only by curiosity wrapped in comfort. The darkness around you becomes a pathway rather than an emptiness, leading you deeper into the solar system's serene stories. You sense that the journey will remain unhurried, each step softer than the last. And as this chapter closes, you feel ready to drift closer toward the first planet's calming mysteries, carried forward by a peaceful, expectant hush. When you picture Mercury, you might imagine a lonely world circling close to the sun, but its nearness does not make it fierce. It makes it strangely calm. There is no wind to roar, no thick atmosphere to stir, only a surface resting in deep silence. The planet turns slowly, taking its time, letting day and night stretch into long, quiet moments. Imagining this stillness can soften your own thoughts, inviting you to settle the way Mercury does, steady, unhurried, content in its solitude. Even the sunlight that touches it arrives without sound, falling across its rocky plains like a warm, gentle sigh. And as you drift closer in your mind, the silence of Mercury becomes a place where everything inside you can slow down and breathe again. A sunrise on Mercury is not like a sunrise on Earth. It rises slowly, almost reluctantly, stretching light across the horizon as though the planet is waking from an ancient, peaceful sleep. Because Mercury rotates so slowly, dawn lingers for a long, quiet time, letting shadows drift at a gentle pace. You can imagine standing there, watching the first glow creep over the craters, soft and delicate against the dark stone. The warmth comes gradually, never rushing, never startling the senses. It feels like the planet itself is breathing in the new day, holding the moment with tenderness. As you picture this slow dawn, your own thoughts begin to match its softness, easing into a calmer rhythm that carries you deeper into quiet wonder. On Mercury, a single day lasts longer than its entire year, creating a rhythm so slow and gentle that time itself feels softened. Imagine standing on its surface as the sun hangs low in the sky, barely moving, casting long, patient shadows across the silent ground. Hours slip into one another without urgency, and the scene feels almost suspended, like a moment stretched to infinity. This unhurried pace is strangely calming, a reminder that not every world follows the quick steps we're used to. Mercury teaches that stillness can exist on a scale far beyond our own lives. As you imagine its endless day unfolding, your mind drifts into that same expanded quiet, where time stretches open and every thought has the space to breathe. Mercury's surface is covered in ancient craters, each one shaped by moments from long ago, yet now they rest in deep, undisturbed quiet. These vast bowls of stone hold shadows that barely shift, keeping their secrets in the stillness of timeless night. When you picture them from above, they resemble gentle impressions in soft dust, like quiet fingerprints of the universe. There is something soothing in their silence, in the way they remain untouched, patient, and unchanged over billions of years. These craters remind you that some marks in the world do not shout, they whisper. And as you let your thoughts wander across their calm, untouched rims, you feel your own inner noise begin to settle, replaced by a steady, peaceful hush that invites deeper rest. Mercury does not have a thick atmosphere like other planets. Instead, it carries a delicate exosphere so thin it behaves more like a faint breath than a blanket of air. This fragile layer drifts quietly around the planet, holding only the lightest touch of particles, so gentle, so subtle, that it feels like the universe is exhaling softly across its surface. There is no wind to rattle stones, no storms to rise, only a calm stillness where the slightest motion becomes meaningful. Imagining this whisper-thin veil makes the mind quieter too, inviting a sense of lightness and openness. It reminds you that not everything needs to be full or loud to matter. Even the softest presence can calm the heart, just as Mercury's exosphere calms the silence around it. On Earth, the cycle of day and night moves with a softness we often overlook. Light arrives gradually, spreading across the sky in a calm, comforting sweep, while night settles in like a blanket drawn slowly over the horizon. This rhythm has guided every living thing, shaping breaths, thoughts, and quiet moments for ages. When you imagine Earth turning steadily beneath you, the world feels peaceful, balanced, and familiar. Shadows stretch and retreat in gentle patterns, never rushed, never abrupt. The planet's rotation becomes a steady heartbeat, one you can almost feel in your own chest. As you drift through this simple rhythm in your mind, the predictability itself becomes calming, reminding you that some of the most soothing motions are the ones we have felt since the beginning. Earth is protected by a magnetic field that works in silence, shaping invisible lines around the planet like soft, curved threads of light. You can imagine this shield stretching outward, catching charged particles from the sun and guiding them away with a gentle, unseen touch. There is nothing loud or violent about its movement. It behaves like a calm guardian, always present, always steady. This quiet protection allows the planet's surface to remain peaceful, letting life bloom under a roof of serenity. As you picture the magnetic field drifting around Earth in smooth, arcing patterns, your thoughts follow its curve, relaxing into that natural sense of safety. It reminds you that even the strongest forces can protect without noise, offering calm simply by being constant and kind. If you listen closely in your imagination, Earth carries a gentle hum, a deep, steady vibration created by the endless movement of its oceans. Waves rise and fall in a rhythm shaped by wind, moon, and time, forming a natural heartbeat that circles the planet. Even from far above, you can almost sense this quiet pulse, a soft reminder of life moving in harmony. The sound is never sharp, never rushed. It flows with the patience of tides that have been breathing for millions of years. As you picture the vast blue waters shimmering under the sky, their slow motion begins to settle into your thoughts, smoothing the edges of your mind. The ocean's calm voice becomes a soothing presence, reminding you that stillness often lives within gentle movement. From space, Earth glows with a delicate blue light created by the scattering of sunlight through its atmosphere. This glow feels peaceful, like the soft sheen of water lit by moonlight. It surrounds the planet in a tender halo, giving Earth a calm, almost ethereal presence. When you imagine drifting above this soft blue sphere, the light seems to wrap around you too, easing your thoughts and quieting the noise inside. The sky below fades gently into deeper shades, blending without edges, soothing the senses with its serene simplicity. This blue glow is more than color. It is comfort, a soft signal that life exists in harmony beneath it. And as you float within that gentle light, you feel a rare, quiet kind of belonging. The moon moves around Earth with a patience that feels almost protective, guiding the tides with a soft, steady pull. Its presence brings a calm rhythm to the oceans, lifting and lowering the waters in long, gentle breaths. When you imagine the moon hanging in the night sky, its pale glow settling over fields and seas, something inside you settles too. It does not shine with intensity. It offers a quiet light that comforts rather than commands attention. This calm influence reaches into every corner of the planet, shaping cycles that have existed for ages. As you picture the moon drifting across the sky, you may feel your thoughts drifting with it, slow, smooth, unhurried, reminding you that even from afar softness can guide the world in beautiful ways. Earth leans gently on its axis, creating the familiar pattern of seasons that rise and fall in a calm, predictable flow. This steady tilt keeps the planet from extremes, ensuring light shifts softly through the year instead of suddenly. You can imagine Earth gliding through space, carrying this balance like a quiet promise. The changes it brings, longer days, cooler evenings, the slow return of warmth, unfold with a pace that comforts the mind. Nothing happens all at once. Nature moves through its cycles with grace. As you picture the planet's soft angle guiding sunlight across continents, you may feel a similar balance forming inside you. The world tilts, but it never wavers, reminding you that stability can be gentle, reassuring, and profoundly soothing. Across Earth, the seasons shift with a softness you can feel even in memory. Spring doesn't arrive in a rush. It opens slowly, like a quiet breath of warmth. Summer settles in gradually, spreading long days across the land. Autumn drifts in with calm colors, wrapping the world in gentle golds and reds, and winter rests like a cool blanket, quieting the noise of life. These changes happen in a rhythm so smooth that you can almost hear the planet whispering through them, guiding each transition with care. As you imagine these seasons unfolding, one into the next, your mind begins to follow their patient pace. The world's slow turning becomes your own, easing your thoughts into a calmer state, reminding you that nature moves in peaceful circles. Earth is wrapped in several thin, delicate layers, each one guarding life in its own quiet way. The atmosphere filters harsh sunlight, softening it before it reaches the ground. Ozone shields the planet from invisible threats, while clouds drift gently above, balancing warmth and coolness like careful hands. Even the air itself acts as a cushion, slowing falling objects and calming the world beneath. When you imagine these layers stacked around Earth, they feel like comforting blankets, each one offering safety without sound. Their presence makes the planet feel sheltered, cared for, and held. As you drift through the idea of these protective veils, A similar sense of protection settles over your thoughts, reminding you that even fragile things can be surrounded by quiet strength. When you imagine Earth from afar, it appears as a gentle oasis, floating in the darkness, glowing softly with blues, greens, and clouds that drift like quiet whispers. Nothing about it seems harsh or hurried. The planet looks peaceful, wrapped in color and movement that soothe rather than startle. You can picture the continents resting under a blanket of atmosphere, oceans shimmering with calm waves, and forests breathing slowly with life. From space, Earth feels fragile yet comfortingly familiar, a place where everything moves in rhythms shaped by harmony. As you hold this image in your mind, your thoughts settle into the planet's softness, letting its calm presence ease your inner world. Earth becomes more than a home. It becomes a gentle reminder of balance and quiet beauty. As you drift away from Earth, the soft blue glow fades behind you, leaving a peaceful memory of home resting in the distance. The passage through space feels smooth and weightless, like gliding across a limitless sea of silence. Ahead, Mars awaits, not with urgency, but with a quiet invitation. The space between the two worlds stretches calmly, giving you time to breathe, to settle, to let your thoughts drift freely. You move forward without effort, carried by a sense of gentle curiosity. Earth remains behind as a calm echo, while Mars grows slowly brighter, offering its own serene landscapes to explore. As you approach the red planet, the journey feels like turning a soft page in a long, soothing story, guiding you deeper into cosmic stillness. Mars may look like a vast and lonely desert, but its calmness holds a kind of beauty that settles gently into the mind. The winds that sweep across its rust-colored plains move softly, carrying fine dust in slow, drifting waves. You can imagine standing there, feeling no rush, only the faint hush of air brushing against ancient rock. The landscape stretches far in every direction, open and uncluttered, giving your thoughts room to breathe. Even the storms, when they rise, feel more like long, drifting veils than chaotic bursts. Mars moves through silence with a patience that invites you to slow down too. As you picture its endless horizons, the stillness seeps into your thoughts, reminding you that even empty places can hold a deep, soothing calm. The surface of Mars is covered in soft shades of red and gold, like a quiet painting left untouched for ages. These plains stretch across the planet with gentle curves and broad, open valleys that seem to rest beneath the thin sky. Nothing stirs loudly here. The silence feels ancient, woven into every grain of dust. As you imagine walking through this reddish world, your footsteps would make no echo, only a faint imprint in the calm soil. The stillness carries a sense of peace, as though the planet is holding its breath in endless contemplation. This soft, muted landscape invites the mind to slow, to drift, to release its noise. In the vast quiet of Mars, your thoughts find space to settle into comforting stillness. On some Martian mornings, a thin layer of frost forms across the cold surface, shimmering softly under the pale sunlight. It appears gently, almost invisibly, covering rocks and dust with a delicate icy breath. You can imagine the quiet beauty of this moment. The world still, the air thin, the light touching the frost with a faint silver glow. Nothing disturbs the scene. The planet's silence makes the moment feel suspended, as though time itself pauses to admire the shimmer. As the sun rises higher, the frost evaporates, without a sound, drifting back into the thin atmosphere like a sigh dissolving into the air. This peaceful transformation invites your thoughts to soften too, mirroring the quiet vanishing of frost into calm morning light. Though Mars is mostly still, tiny dust devils sometimes rise from its surface, swirling in quiet spirals that drift across the plains. They move with surprising elegance, like delicate dancers tracing slow patterns in the thin air. These dusty whirls are light and gentle, lifting small grains of sand into graceful motion without rushing or roaring. When you picture them spinning silently under the soft Martian sky, the image brings a feeling of calm curiosity. They are reminders that even in quiet worlds, small movements can create beauty. Their paths fade as quickly as they form, leaving the landscape untouched and serene. As you follow their delicate dance in your imagination, your thoughts move with the same ease, calm and unforced, drifting into peaceful rhythm. The sky on Mars is thin, almost delicate, carrying only a faint whisper of air. Because the atmosphere is so light, sound barely travels, leaving the entire world wrapped in a deep, soothing hush. You can imagine standing beneath that pale, peach-colored sky, feeling an immense quiet settle around you, so complete that even your own breath seems to fade gently into the stillness. The thin air softens every motion, every shift of dust, every distant breeze. Nothing feels heavy or crowded. Everything feels open and peaceful. As you picture this calm sky stretching endlessly overhead, your thoughts begin to mirror its quiet emptiness, drifting slowly like faint clouds across the horizon. In the soft silence of Mars, the mind finds a rare place to rest. At the northern and southern edges of Mars lie vast polar caps, frozen in thick layers of ice that have rested for countless ages. These icy expanses shine softly under the distant sun, glowing with a pale, soothing light. There is no rushing melt, no crashing waves, only stillness, preserved in cold, gentle silence. You can imagine drifting above these frozen landscapes, watching subtle patterns etched by time and temperature. The air is quiet, the ground unmoving, and everything feels suspended in peaceful balance. These polar caps hold memories of ancient climates and seasons, yet they remain calm, untouched, patient. As you picture their icy calmness, your own thoughts begin to cool and settle, finding comfort in the serene, frozen beauty stretching across the Martian poles. Across the surface of Mars lie winding channels, ancient riverbeds carved long ago by flowing water. Now they rest in perfect stillness, silent reminders of a time when the planet carried gentle streams. These empty paths stretch like soft scars through the reddish soil, curving peacefully across valleys and plains. You can imagine following one of these quiet channels, walking through the memory of water that has long since faded. There is something soothing in these remnants of motion, as though the echoes of old rivers still linger in the calm air. They hold a story without words, a history told in gentle shapes. As you picture these quiet riverbeds, your thoughts settle into their steady curves, drifting through the soft, forgotten rhythms of a calmer Martian past. Because the sun is farther away, its light reaches Mars with a soft, muted glow. It spreads gently across the plains, warming the rusty landscape without intensity. You can imagine this tender light slipping over rocks and dunes, bathing everything in a calm reddish hue. There is no glare, no sharp brightness, just a warm, quiet shine that feels almost like early morning on Earth. Shadows fall softly, stretching in long, smooth lines that sway with the slow movement of the day. This delicate sunlight creates a sense of peace, as though the entire planet is held in a warm embrace. As you picture this gentle illumination, your thoughts begin to glow with the same quiet warmth, settling deeper into comfort and ease. Olympus Mons rises gently from the Martian surface, not with sharp cliffs or violent peaks, but with a slow, sweeping slope that feels almost peaceful. Despite being the tallest volcano in the solar system, it appears calm and steady, like a giant resting beneath the thin sky. You can imagine drifting over its broad, quiet summit, where the air is still and the horizon curves softly away. There is no rumble, no heat, just ancient rock shaped by time, resting in silent certainty. The mountain feels more like a sleeping guardian than a force of destruction. As you picture its vast, gentle form, your thoughts expand with it, moving slowly across its serene landscape. In its quiet height, you find a sense of calm that stretches far beyond the horizon. As you lift away from Mars, its soft red glow fades into the distance, leaving behind memories of quiet plains and silent horizons. The space ahead feels open and light, a gentle pathway leading you onward. There is no rush in this drift, no pressure to move quickly. The journey unfolds at a peaceful pace. You float through the calm darkness, feeling each moment lengthen like a slow, steady breath. Mars becomes a warm echo behind you, while the next world waits with its own soothing stories to share. The silence around you grows comforting, wrapping you in a sense of weightless ease. As you follow this calm passage through the stars, the universe feels welcoming, guiding you softly toward the gentle grandeur of Jupiter. Jupiter is enormous, yet when you imagine drifting toward its vast form, a surprising quiet settles over the mind. Beneath its swirling clouds lies a deep, hidden interior, layers of gas and liquid hydrogen resting in slow, heavy calm. Even though the planet is full of motion, its core feels timeless, like a silent chamber untouched by the chaos above. You can picture this inner world as a serene, glowing depth where pressure builds gently instead of loudly. The weight of Jupiter brings a sense of grounding, a reminder that even the largest forces in the universe can hold their power with grace. As you imagine descending toward its peaceful center, your thoughts sink gently with you, settling into a comforting quiet that feels ancient and steady. The storms on Jupiter are massive, but from a distance they appear less like violent tempests and more like swirling tapestries of soft motion. Each cloud band stretches gracefully around the planet, shifting in rhythms that feel almost musical. Even the great red spot, a storm larger than Earth, turns with a slow, deliberate spin that seems more hypnotic than fierce. You can imagine floating above these patterns, watching the colors blend into one another, creams, browns, soft reds, moving in gentle spirals. There is no roaring sound, no overwhelming force in this imagined view, only the calm beauty of motion on a grand scale. As your mind follows these drifting storms, their unhurried cycles soothe your thoughts, inviting you into a deeper, more peaceful awareness. Jupiter rotates faster than any other planet, yet when imagined from afar, its rapid spin feels surprisingly smooth. Instead of chaos, you see a gentle turning, an enormous world completing a full rotation in just 10 hours, moving with a precision that feels almost soothing. The bands of clouds glide around the sphere in steady lines, creating a sense of balance despite their speed. You can imagine hovering above this motion, watching the giant planet turn like a soft, glowing lantern. The rhythm of its rotation becomes a quiet pulse, steady and reassuring. As you follow this great spinning world, your thoughts begin to settle into its reliable pace, finding calm in the idea that even the universe's fastest movements can flow with gentle harmony. Beneath Jupiter's colorful clouds lies a vast ocean, not of water, but of liquid hydrogen resting in deep, silent layers. This sea stretches far below the atmosphere, shifting slowly under immense pressure. You can imagine drifting above it, sensing the quiet weight of its depth, without feeling any rush or disturbance. The liquid behaves almost like a calm, endless tide, moving with a softness shaped by the giant planet's gravity. There are no waves, no crashing sounds, only a deep, peaceful stillness that feels ancient and comforting. As you picture this hidden ocean, your thoughts sink gently into its tranquil darkness, allowing the mind to rest beside something immense yet serene. In Jupiter's quiet depths, you find a calmness that feels limitless. The great red spot has been swirling on Jupiter for centuries, yet when you imagine it from afar, it feels less like a storm and more like a calm, ancient eye watching over the planet. Its massive oval shape turns in slow, steady circles, moving with the patience of something that has endured for ages. The colors within it, soft reds and faded oranges, blend together like gentle brushstrokes. You can picture hovering above it, feeling no threat, only a quiet fascination as the storm drifts beneath you. Its size is immense, yet its presence feels strangely peaceful, as though it has found a lasting rhythm in the chaos. As your thoughts settle into its slow rotation, you feel time stretching out softly, inviting you into its timeless calm. Jupiter's moons move in graceful orbits, circling the giant planet like dancers, keeping time with a silent music. Io, Europa, Ganymede, and Callisto glide along their paths with a balance that feels delicate and harmonious. You can imagine watching them from a distance, each one shining softly as it moves through the darkness. Their orbits never collide or rush. They follow their ancient routes with gentle certainty. The sight of these moons drifting in quiet formation creates a calming sense of order, a reminder that the universe often moves with elegance rather than chaos. As you picture their slow, rhythmic dance, your mind begins to sway with them, finding comfort in the steady patterns that guide their peaceful motion around their massive companion. Jupiter's gravity is powerful, yet when you imagine it from afar, it feels more like a quiet anchor than a force of dominance. Its pull keeps countless objects, moons, dust, wandering rocks, moving in calm, predictable paths. This invisible embrace stretches far into space, shaping motion with a steady guiding hand. You can picture drifting near the planet, sensing this soft tug that doesn't rush or jolt, but gently reminds everything where to move. It feels like the universe placing a comforting hand on your shoulder, steadying you. The strength is immense, but the sensation is peaceful, like being held rather than pushed. As you imagine this gravitational calmness, your thoughts settle into a feeling of support, knowing that even the largest forces can hold the cosmos with quiet care. Jupiter's atmosphere is made of countless layers, each one moving in its own slow pattern, yet blending together in perfect harmony. These bands of clouds glide past one another like soft strokes of paint, brushed across an endless canvas. From above, their motion seems peaceful and unified, even when colors shift from pale creams to deeper browns. You can imagine floating just above them, watching the layers drift without conflict, without noise, only smooth, steady flow. The deeper you look, the more the clouds appear to breathe, rising and falling in rhythms shaped by ancient winds. As your imagination follows their movement, your mind mirrors their calm balance, finding comfort in the quiet harmony of layers that work together, creating a serene portrait of motion. Jupiter moves around the sun with a steadiness that feels almost musical, as if its orbit follows a slow, calming rhythm. This giant planet takes nearly 12 Earth years to complete its journey, drifting along a wide, gentle path carved by gravity and time. You can imagine watching it from far above, seeing its motion unfold with the patience of a long, peaceful breath. Nothing about its orbit feels rushed. Each moment is part of a quiet sequence that repeats flawlessly. This graceful cycle influences the movement of other worlds and smaller bodies, guiding them with subtle balance. As you picture Jupiter gliding along its orbit, your own thoughts begin to follow its unhurried pace, finding comfort in the predictable, soothing harmony of its cosmic journey. As you drift away from Jupiter, its swirling clouds and quiet storms slowly fade, leaving behind the memory of a world filled with immense yet gentle motion. The space ahead opens like a calm corridor, guiding you toward the next planet with a light, unhurried pull. You float through this dark expanse with ease, feeling the silence stretch around you like a warm, endless night. Each moment feels weightless, as though time itself has softened. In the distance, Saturn begins to glow, a pale, golden shape waiting patiently. The journey toward it feels peaceful, almost dreamlike, as if the universe wants you to approach slowly without strain. As you drift closer, the promise of quiet rings and soft light welcomes you deeper into the calm of space. Saturn's rings appear delicate from afar, circling the planet like soft, shimmering halos made of drifting ice. When you imagine them up close, they feel even more peaceful, countless tiny particles moving together in quiet harmony. There is no noise, no collision loud enough to reach the ear, only the gentle glide of ice and dust following ancient paths. The rings spread out like a calm silver mist, each layer thin and graceful, turning around Saturn with unbroken patience. As you picture their soft glow catching the faint sunlight, something in your thoughts begins to slow, mirroring their effortless motion. The rings remind you that beauty can be simple, gentle, and endlessly soothing, offering a silent rhythm that guides the mind toward deeper calm. Saturn glimmers with a warm golden tone, as though the planet is wrapped in soft sunlight that never fully fades. This gentle glow spreads across its cloud tops, giving the entire world a serene, dreamlike presence. You can imagine drifting above it, watching the soft light ripple across its swirling bands, each one moving slowly, like waves painted in muted gold. There is a quiet elegance to this glow, a warmth that doesn't burn, a brightness that doesn't overwhelm. It feels like the calm light of early morning, stretching softly across an endless landscape. As you picture Saturn bathed in this peaceful radiance, your thoughts settle into the glow as well, finding comfort in its gentle warmth and the quiet, steady beauty it carries. Titan glows beneath a blanket of soft orange haze, a world where every shape and shadow appears gently blurred. Its thick atmosphere filters sunlight into a muted amber glow, creating a landscape that feels quiet and unhurried. You can imagine drifting above its surface, watching the mist roll slowly over frozen lakes and calm plains. Nothing moves with urgency here. The air itself seems to breathe in long, patient rhythms. Titan feels like a dream, half awake, a place where silence settles lightly on every horizon. Even its distant lakes of methane shine with a subdued stillness, reflecting a world at rest. As you hold this calm vision in your mind, it becomes easy to match Titan's soft pace, letting each thought melt smoothly into the next. By the time sunlight reaches Saturn, it has softened into a delicate golden glow that feels more like a warm whisper than a bright beam. This light drifts slowly across the planet and its rings, spreading in thin, gentle waves that move without hurry. You can imagine floating nearby, watching the soft rays melt over the cloud tops, turning their curves into warm, glowing shapes. The rings shimmer faintly beneath the weakened sunlight, as if brushed with powdered gold. There is no harshness in this illumination, only a calm radiance that settles lightly over everything it touches. As you picture this subtle glow stretching across the cold expanse, your thoughts begin to glow as well, warmed by the same quiet light that drifts so peacefully around Saturn. The storms on Saturn may be enormous, but from a distance they move with a quiet strength that feels almost soothing. Instead of violent chaos, you see broad swirls of pale clouds drifting in slow, measured spirals. Their motion is steady, graceful, and strangely gentle for storms of such size. You can imagine hovering above them, watching their shapes shift like soft brush strokes carried by a calm, ancient wind. Even the planet's largest tempests seem to follow a peaceful rhythm, turning not with fury, but with patience. There is no roar here, only the silent dance of clouds that have circled for centuries. As you picture these muted storms drifting far below, your own thoughts begin to loosen and follow their calm, unhurried flow. When Saturn's rings cast their shadows across the planet, the effect is delicate and serene, as if someone painted soft lines of shade across its golden surface. These shadows stretch gently, following the curve of the rings with perfect grace. You can imagine floating nearby, watching the faint darkness slide slowly across the clouds, shifting with the planet's quiet rotation. Nothing about these shadows is harsh. They fall like whispered impressions, subtle and calm. The contrast between sunlight and shade becomes a kind of cosmic artwork, simple yet deeply soothing. As you imagine these brushstroke shadows gliding across Saturn, your thoughts settle into the quiet pattern they create, finding peace in their slow, effortless movement and the gentle beauty they leave behind. When the Cassini's spacecraft orbited Saturn, it moved in near-perfect silence, gliding through the dark like a patient observer. From its vantage point, Saturn appeared calm and luminous, wrapped in golden clouds and delicate rings. You can imagine Cassini drifting gently above the planet, capturing each serene moment without disturbance. There was no noise, no vibration, only the soft hum of a distant machine watching a sleeping giant. Every image it sent back felt like a quiet note in a long, soothing melody. As Cassini circled the world again and again, it revealed Saturn not as a place of chaos, but as a world shaped by quiet beauty. And as you imagine floating beside it, you feel a similar stillness settling into your thoughts. Viewed from far away, Saturn seems to hold every part of itself in perfect balance. Rings, clouds, light, and shadow all moving with gentle unity. The planet doesn't demand attention, it simply glows softly, as though content in its own quiet rhythm. You can imagine drifting at the edge of its light, watching the rings sweep around it like silent music. Even from a great distance, you can sense the harmony that binds the planet together. Nothing feels rushed and nothing feels out of place. This distant perspective creates a deep sense of peace, reminding you that even vast, powerful worlds can move with elegance. As you hold this view in your mind, your thoughts begin to align with Saturn's calm presence, slowing into a soft, steady rhythm. Saturn's rings feel like more than just drifting ice. They hold a quiet, emotional weight, as though the planet is wrapped in a gentle embrace. Their perfect circles suggest harmony, protection, and calm continuity. You can imagine each tiny particle reflecting a soft glimmer of light, creating a shimmering halo that moves with steady grace. From afar, the rings look almost fragile, yet they have endured for millions of years, an elegant reminder that beauty can be both delicate and strong. As you picture them surrounding Saturn like a comforting band of light, you may feel a similar warmth forming inside you. The rings seem to whisper that peace can take many shapes, and that sometimes the gentlest structures are the ones that soothe the heart the most. Leaving Saturn behind feels like drifting away from a warm golden glow into a deeper, cooler stretch of space. The rings fade softly into the darkness, becoming a distant shimmer as you move onward. Ahead, Uranus waits, a pale, cyan world tilted gently on its side as though resting in a quiet dream. The space between the planets is calm, almost weightless, giving your thoughts time to settle and stretch. You float through the silence without effort, the soft pull of curiosity guiding you forward. Uranus grows slowly brighter, its unusual tilt making it appear serene and otherworldly. As you draw nearer, the peaceful mystery of this sideways planet surrounds you, inviting you to drift deeper into its cool, calming glow. Uranus drifts through space with a serenity unlike any other planet, tilted gently on its side as though resting in a quiet dream. This unusual posture gives it a calm, reclining presence, as if the planet has simply decided to lie down beneath the stars. You can imagine approaching it slowly, watching its pale blue surface glow with a cool, delicate light. Nothing about Uranus feels rushed or loud. Its movements are smooth, almost sleepy, carrying a sense of timeless stillness. The planet turns with the ease of a world unbothered by the universe around it. And as you picture this sideways giant drifting along its path, your own thoughts begin to lean into its slow rhythm, settling into a peaceful, relaxed state. From afar, Uranus shines with a soft cyan hue, a color so gentle it seems designed to calm the mind. The light wraps around the planet like a cool mist, smoothing every edge and softening every shadow. You can imagine floating near its surface, watching the faint glow ripple across its atmosphere in calm, quiet waves. There is a soothing simplicity in this color, no harsh contrasts, no sudden brightness, just a steady, comforting tone that feels like a breath of cool air. The entire planet looks like a sphere of tranquil light drifting through the dark. And as you hold that image in your mind, the soft cyan glow begins to settle into your thoughts, clearing space for silence, clarity, and gentle relaxation. The winds on Uranus move through its atmosphere with a softness that feels almost like a whispered motion. Even though they can reach great speeds, the thick, calm layers of gas make their movement appear smooth and almost silent. You can imagine watching pale bands drift across the planet, sliding over one another like silk sheets stirred by a slow breath. Nothing crashes or roars here. Everything glides. The atmosphere carries a sense of cool distance, a gentle detachment that quiets the mind. These winds do not push or pull. They simply move in the background, creating patterns that ebb and flow in peaceful cycles. As you picture their calm passage, your thoughts begin to follow the same smooth pathways, drifting lightly through a serene, internal space. Uranus appears wrapped in layers of soft blue, a color that feels dreaming and delicate, like twilight sinking into a quiet ocean. This cool hue spreads evenly across the planet, giving it a soothing, uniform glow that calms the senses. You can imagine hovering above its surface, surrounded by this gentle blue light, feeling your thoughts dissolve into the same softness. The shadows here are faint, the highlights subtle, creating a world without sharp edges or sudden contrasts. It feels like a place suspended between waking and sleep, a planet drifting through the cosmos with the peaceful calm of a long exhale. As you hold this cool blue vision in your mind, your breath deepens, your thoughts slow, and the softness begins to settle warmly inside you. The rings of Uranus are faint, almost invisible at first glance, as though the planet is wearing the lightest touch of jewelry. These delicate bands drift quietly around the sideways world, forming thin arcs that seem to shimmer only when the light catches them just right. You can imagine hovering near them, watching tiny particles move in soft, silent unison. There is no brilliance, no sharp glow, just gentle lines of dust and ice tracing calm circles in the dark. Their subtle presence feels peaceful, like a quiet melody humming in the background of the planet's serene atmosphere. As you picture these whispered rings gliding around Uranus, your thoughts begin to circle gently as well, easing into a slow, steady rhythm that soothes the mind. Uranus tilts so dramatically that it appears to be lying on its side, as if settling into a long cosmic sleep. This unusual orientation gives it a peaceful, resting quality, like a planet wrapped in its own quiet dream. You can imagine drifting near it, sensing a kind of stillness that feels deeper than ordinary calm. The poles face the sun in long, gentle cycles, creating seasons that unfold with slow, patient grace. Everything about Uranus suggests a world unbothered by the rush of the universe, a place content to turn at its own unhurried pace. As you picture this sleeping giant rotating softly on its side, your thoughts begin to recline with it, easing into a tranquil posture that invites rest and quiet reflection. Even the storms on Uranus move with a quiet subtlety, appearing more like soft shadows drifting across its pale surface than true tempests. These faint swirls form and fade gently, their shapes blending smoothly into the planet's cool blue atmosphere. You can imagine watching them from a distance, seeing delicate patterns shift with calm precision, as if stirred by a slow and thoughtful hand. There is no sense of urgency in their motion, only a tranquil flow that mirrors the planet's serene personality. As you picture these muted storms drifting across the smooth clouds, your own thoughts begin to soften, following the same slow arcs. Their gentle presence reassures you that not all storms are loud. Some simply whisper as they pass, leaving the world quieter than before. Uranus drifts far from the warmth of the sun, wrapped in a deep, distant quiet that feels both vast and peaceful. The darkness surrounding it is softer here, less imposing, as though space itself respects the planet's calm nature. You can imagine floating in this remote region where everything moves slowly and nothing demands your attention. The silence is deep, but not empty. It feels thoughtful, like a pause between heartbeats. Uranus glows faintly within this stillness, a cool beacon resting in a sea of dark serenity. As you hold this image in your mind, the distant quiet settles into your thoughts, giving you room to breathe without pressure. The peaceful isolation of this far-off world becomes a space where the mind can drift freely without noise. Uranus travels around the sun in a vast, gentle arc, taking 84 Earth years to complete a single orbit. This slow journey gives the planet a quiet confidence, as though it moves with full trust in the path laid out before it. You can imagine watching Uranus glide along its distant track, unhurried and steady, like a lantern drifting through an endless night. There is something calming in this predictable motion, a sense that even at the edge of the solar system, order and rhythm remain. As you picture its long, graceful orbit unfolding across decades, your thoughts begin to stretch out with it, becoming slower and softer. The silent certainty of Uranus's path becomes a reminder that life too can move forward gently and without rush. Leaving Uranus behind feels like floating out of a cool, dreamy haze into a darker, deeper stretch of space. The cyan glow fades softly, becoming a small dot in the distance as you move forward. Ahead, Neptune waits, a world of rich, calming blue that seems to hum with quiet mystery. The journey between the two planets is smooth and silent, giving your thoughts time to settle and expand. You drift through the emptiness without weight, carried by curiosity rather than urgency. Neptune's deep color grows gradually, like an ocean rising out of the night. As you approach, the planet's serene glow fills the space around you, guiding you gently toward its cool, peaceful presence and the soothing secrets it holds. Neptune glows with a rich, soothing blue, a color that feels deeper than oceans and quieter than twilight. As you approach it in your imagination, the planet seems to radiate a cool serenity, as though it carries centuries of stillness within its swirling clouds. The blue is not loud or intense. It is gentle, layered, and endlessly soft. You can imagine drifting near its surface, watching the shades blend into one another like calm waves moving under starlight. This deep color invites your mind to rest, to slow its pace, to sink into a quiet that feels boundless. Neptune's glow becomes a shelter in the darkness, a place where every thought can soften. And as you hold this vision, your breathing deepens, matching the planet's quiet presence. Though Neptune lies far from the sun, its interior holds a quiet warmth that glows beneath the icy atmosphere. This hidden heat rises gently, stirring soft motions in the deep layers of gas, like a faint pulse beating in a cold, distant world. You can imagine this warmth traveling upward, subtle but steady, giving the planet a sense of life despite its frozen exterior. It feels like a lantern glowing under heavy blankets, soft and reassuring. As you drift closer in your thoughts, the contrast between cold silence and secret warmth creates a calming balance, cool enough to soothe, warm enough to comfort. Neptune becomes a reminder that even in the coldest places, gentle heat can remain, steady and patient, waiting quietly beneath the surface. Neptune's storms, though powerful, move with a rhythm that feels more like slow ocean swells than violent tempests. Their deep blue spirals shift gently across the planet's surface, forming patterns that resemble waves rolling under a twilight sea. You can imagine watching these vast shapes turn in calm, deliberate cycles, their motion steady and unhurried. There is no roar here, only a silent, graceful drift that reflects the serenity of the distant world. As the storms glide across the atmosphere, their soft curves create a soothing visual harmony, like clouds carried by a peaceful tide. And as you picture these quiet spirals unfolding, your thoughts begin to follow their smooth paths, easing into the same tranquil momentum that Neptune carries so naturally through the dark. The winds on Neptune are some of the fastest in the solar system, yet in the planet's cold, serene atmosphere, they appear to whisper rather than roar. You can imagine them sweeping across the deep blue clouds in steady flowing currents, moving with a silent urgency that feels strangely soothing. Their motion shapes the atmosphere into long, elegant streaks, like soft brushstrokes stretching across a midnight canvas. Nothing about these winds feels harsh. They glide with a calm determination, as though the planet breathes in long, silent exhales. As you picture these distant winds drifting through Neptune's sky, your mind begins to settle into their rhythm, finding comfort in the idea that even the swiftest forces can move with quiet grace when wrapped in stillness. Triton, Neptune's largest moon, moves around the planet with a calm, steady grace that feels almost poetic. Its orbit is unique, gliding in the opposite direction of Neptune's rotation, yet nothing about its motion feels disruptive. Instead, it circles like a quiet companion, tracing a gentle path through the cold, still darkness. You can imagine watching Triton drift across Neptune's deep blue glow, casting soft shadows that slide peacefully across the atmosphere. The distance between them creates a sense of delicate harmony, like two dancers moving in slow, silent coordination. As you picture Triton's calm orbit unfolding moment by moment, your thoughts begin to mirror its smooth trajectory, drifting in gentle arcs that soothe the mind and invite deeper quiet. Neptune's distant chill carries its own kind of comfort, a cold so deep and steady that it feels quiet rather than harsh. This coolness settles across the planet like a soft blanket, smoothing the atmosphere into gentle shades of blue. You can imagine drifting through this cold serenity, feeling it clear your thoughts the way winter air clears a quiet night sky. Nothing moves abruptly. Everything feels deliberate and calm. The cold does not bite. It rests, settling into every layer with quiet intention. As you imagine this distant, tranquil coolness surrounding you, a feeling of mental clarity begins to form, as if every unnecessary thought slowly falls away. Neptune's cold calm becomes a peaceful space where the mind can rest without weight, without noise, without hurry. On Neptune, dark spots drift across the atmosphere like soft, shifting shadows. They form quietly, linger for a time, and then dissolve back into the deep blue without leaving a trace. You can imagine watching these shapes appear gently, as if painted by an unseen hand, their edges smooth and dreamlike. They don't move with force. They drift, unhurried, carried by the silent winds that glide through the planet's highest layers. These dark spots feel like passing thoughts in a restful mind, subtle, temporary, and calm. As you picture them fading slowly into the surrounding blue, your thoughts begin to fade with them, softening at the edges. Their quiet presence becomes a reminder that not every change needs to be loud. Some moments arrive and leave peacefully. Neptune lives in a region where sunlight reaches only as a faint whisper, creating an atmosphere filled with gentle cold. This chill doesn't feel harsh. It feels calm, like the cool air of a quiet evening. You can imagine drifting through Neptune's distant skies, surrounded by a soothing coldness that settles softly on every cloud. The light is dim, the colors deep, and the silence thick enough to feel. In this cold stillness, everything moves slowly, as though the universe itself is resting. The faint sunlight that touches Neptune spreads like a soft glow, barely disturbing the calm. As you hold this image in your mind, the peaceful chill begins to wrap around your thoughts, quieting them, helping you drift into deeper calm. Neptune's great distance from the sun creates a silence unlike any other in the solar system. Out here, light travels slowly, sound cannot form, and everything feels wrapped in a calm that stretches across billions of kilometers. You can imagine floating near the planet, surrounded by a darkness so serene that even your own thoughts seem to echo softly. This distance gives Neptune a sense of peaceful isolation, a world resting at the quiet edge of everything familiar. The stillness is deep but comforting, like standing in a wide open field at night, far from any noise. As you picture Neptune drifting in this vast, gentle solitude, your mind begins to settle into the same quiet space, finding calm in the soft separation from the busy inner worlds. As you leave Neptune behind, its deep blue glow becomes a faint shimmer in the distance, fading slowly into the darkness. The space ahead opens like a vast, peaceful ocean, guiding you toward worlds beyond the solar system. There is no rush in this journey, only a soft pull, a quiet curiosity that carries you forward. You drift past the last whispers of sunlight, moving into regions where stars shine like distant lanterns. The silence grows deeper, but so does your sense of calm. Neptune remains behind as a cool memory, while ahead lies the promise of countless worlds waiting in the starlit dark. As you float into this endless expanse, the universe feels gentle, expansive, and welcoming, inviting you to keep drifting deeper into its quiet mysteries. Far beyond the reach of our solar system, enormous planets drift around distant stars with a calm that feels almost timeless. These gas giants move in wide, steady orbits, their atmospheres glowing softly under unfamiliar suns. You can imagine floating near one of these worlds, watching pale clouds swirl in slow, soothing patterns shaped by gentle winds. The colors might be strange, lavender, teal, or deep emerald, but every shade feels peaceful, softened by the vast distance from home. These faraway giants do not roar or rush. They drift with quiet dignity, following paths carved by gravity's delicate pull. As you picture these serene colossi, turning silently in the darkness, your thoughts begin to expand alongside them, drifting into a sense of wonder that feels calm and comforting. Many distant worlds circle small, cool stars known as red dwarfs, stars that shine with a gentle, ember-like glow. Their light is dim and warm, bathing orbiting planets in soft hues of rose and amber. You can imagine standing on a world lit by such a star, watching the sky painted in perpetual twilight. The light feels hushed, more like a warm breath than a bright flame. These systems move slowly, peacefully, their planets tracing tight, steady orbits close to their faint suns. As you drift through this vision, the soft red light settles gently in your imagination, inviting your thoughts to relax. In these quiet star systems, everything seems to glow with calm reassurance, as though the universe whispers in warm, muted tones. Some distant planets are locked in place by their stars, always showing the same face to the light. On one side, gentle daylight lasts forever. On the other, an endless night rests in quiet shadow. You can imagine standing in the twilight zone between them, where day and night meet in a soft, glowing balance. The light here never changes, never rushes. It lingers in warm, steady tones that soothe the senses. The air might be calm, the horizon calm, and the world itself feels like it breathes slowly. This everlasting dusk carries a peaceful rhythm, a place where time seems to stretch without hurry. As you picture this unmoving sun hanging in the sky, your thoughts settle into the same stillness, suspended in quiet harmony. Some exoplanets may be covered entirely in vast oceans, their surfaces shimmering under distant starlight. You can imagine floating above such a world, watching gentle waves rise and fall in patterns shaped by soft winds and deep tides. There are no continents, no borders, just water stretching in every direction, calm and reflective. The planet turns slowly beneath you, its oceanic surface glistening like a giant, peaceful mirror. The sound, if you could hear it, would be a long, soothing hush. As you envision this endless sea, the mind begins to drift with its quiet rhythm, following the soft currents that circle the globe. These water worlds remind you that beauty can be simple, just light, waves, and the steady pulse of a boundless ocean. Some distant planets are shaped by a unique balance of light, one side warmed by gentle starlight, the other resting in cool darkness. Between them lies a ring of everlasting twilight, a soft band where the glow never fades or brightens. You can imagine standing in this calm zone, watching the horizon blend into a dusky gradient of purples, blues, and faint golds. The sky feels quiet, like a moment caught between waking and dreaming. Winds might move slowly here, carrying a soft chill from the night and a mild warmth from the day. Everything feels balanced, peaceful, and steady. As you picture this eternal twilight stretching across the world, your thoughts drift into the same gentle glow, settling softly in its calm embrace. Some exoplanets, known as super-Earths, are slightly larger than our own world, but carry an unexpected sense of calm. Their stronger gravity may hold thick atmospheres that glow softly in the light of distant stars. You can imagine standing beneath such a sky, watching clouds drift slowly across a wide and steady horizon. The landscape might feel solid and grounded, shaped by forces that move with patience rather than haste. These worlds could be warm and welcoming, their surfaces smooth and stable beneath quiet air. As you picture a super-Earth resting in its orbit, turning in slow, deliberate motion, your thoughts begin to feel grounded too, held gently by the idea of a world that supports calmness in every layer of its being. Many distant planets travel in orbits so steady that they feel like quiet rhythms echoing through the galaxy. These orbits follow gentle ellipses, repeating the same calm paths around their stars year after year. You can imagine watching a group of exoplanets circle a dim sun, each one moving with perfect balance. No collisions, no chaos. Their motion feels like a cosmic lullaby, a soft sequence of movement guided by gravity's patient hand. Even when the distances are vast, the harmony between worlds creates a sense of peaceful order. As you picture these synchronized orbits unfolding slowly in the dark, your thoughts begin to align with their calm cycles. The universe feels organized, steady, and welcoming, as though every world knows exactly where it belongs. Some stars shine not with fierce brilliance, but with a gentle glow that nurtures the worlds around them. Their light is steady and warm, stretching softly across space like a quiet invitation. You can imagine drifting near such a star, feeling the soft illumination settle over your thoughts. Planets orbit these calm suns in slow, graceful arcs, bathing in light that never overwhelms. The sky on such a world might be tinted with warm oranges or pale pinks, colors that soothe the senses rather than startle them. As you envision this peaceful star guiding its small family of planets, your mind begins to drift with the same gentle pace. The light feels like comfort, a reminder that even the faintest stars can bring warmth to the quiet places of the universe. Across the galaxy, there are more worlds than we can ever imagine, each one carrying its own quiet secrets, its own gentle rhythm. Some glow softly beneath distant suns, while others drift through darkness like silent lanterns. You can imagine floating among them, surrounded by an endless expanse where every direction leads to something new, something peaceful. There is comfort in this infinity, a sense that the universe is filled with calm spaces waiting to be discovered. No two worlds are the same, yet all move with a shared softness shaped by time and light. As you picture this endless ocean of planets, your thoughts begin to stretch out into that quiet possibility, finding peace in the simple truth that the universe is vast and beautifully calm. As you drift away from the distant stars and the soft glow of unknown worlds, the universe slowly begins to guide you back. The endless expanse behind you becomes a tranquil memory, fading into quiet starlight. Ahead, the familiar pull of home grows warmer, like a gentle hand resting on your shoulder. You can imagine gliding through space with no weight, no rush, just calm, steady motion. The journey back feels like floating toward a warm light after a long, peaceful dream. Each moment becomes softer, your thoughts quieter, as if the cosmos itself is tucking you in. And as you finally return to the comfort of your own world, you carry with you the calm of a universe that whispers softly, reminding you that you are never far from wonder.